Hi, it's me Olga, and this is part 4 of Rainbow Loom Stuffed Teddy Bear. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the head. I'll be using pink rubber bands. First, let's make the magic ring. Wrap a rubber band around the mini loom 3 times. So there goes our magic ring. Then for round 1, pattern is 6 single stitch on the magic ring. So 1 single stitch, pull to the side, then another single stitch, pull the stitch to the side, third single stitch, then fourth single stitch, then 5, and the last one, 6 single stitch, now we have completed our first round. You should end up having 6 chains. For round 2, the pattern is increased in every chain. So 2 single stitch on the first chain, 1, 2, then another 2 single stitch on the second chain, 1, 2. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 3, the pattern is increase in every second chain. So 1 single stitch, 2 single stitch, 1 single stitch, and 2 single stitch. Repeat this pattern all the way around. So 1 on the first chain, then 2 single stitch on the second chain. Repeat this pattern 5 more times. Now pause the video and get back when you're done. For round 4, the pattern is 1 single stitch on the first chain, then increase, then 1 single stitch on the next 2 chains, then increase, then 1 single stitch on the next 2 chain. Repeat that pattern 5 times, and then let's start. So 1 single stitch on the first chain, then increase on the second chain, 1, 2, then 1 single stitch on the next 2 chains, 1 single stitch, 1 single stitch, and then 2 single stitch again on the next chain. Just repeat the pattern 5 times. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 5, the pattern is 1 single stitch on the first 3 chains and increase on the 4th chain. Repeat that pattern 6 times. You should end up having 30 chains. So 1 single stitch, 1 single stitch, then 1 single stitch, then the 4th chain, increase, so 1 single stitch, then 2 single stitch. Now back to 1 single stitch, 1 single stitch, 1 single stitch, then 2 single stitch, 1, 2. Repeat this pattern 4 more times. Now pause the video and come back when you're done. For round 6, the pattern is 1 single stitch on the first 2 chains, then increase on the 3rd, then 1 single stitch on the next 4 chains, then increase again, then one single stitch in the next 4 chains, then increase, then just repeat this pattern 5 times, then increase on the last and one single stitch on the on the last 2 chains. So one on the first, and one again, and on the third we will increase. So one, two, then back to one single stitch in the next 4 chains. So one single stitch, one single stitch, one single stitch, one single stitch, and increase again. Now just follow the pattern, pause the video and finish off the round. Come back when you're done. For round 7, the pattern is one single stitch on the first 5 chains, then increase on the 6th chain. Repeat that pattern 6 times. So one single stitch, one single stitch, one single stitch, one single stitch, one single stitch again. Next we will increase, we'll put 2 single stitch. So one, two. You should end up having 36 chains. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 8, the pattern is one single stitch on the first 3 chains. Let's start. So one, two, and the third single stitch. Now we will increase on the 4th chain. One, the same chain, two. Now one single stitch on the next 6 chains. So one, two, three, four, 5, 6, now 2 single stitch in the next chain. Repeat this pattern 5 more times and pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 9, the pattern is one single stitch in the first 7 chains, then increase on the 8th. So repeat that 6 times. So one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now increase on the 8th. 1, 2. Repeat this pattern 6 times. Pause the video and come back when you're done. For round 10, the pattern is one single stitch in the first 4 chains, then increase, then one single stitch in the next 8 chains, then increase, then repeat the pattern 5 times. So let's start. One single stitch, the first 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, then increase. So 1, 2, then one single stitch on the next 8 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, 8. Then again 2 single stitch. 1, 2. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For rounds 11 to 15, we will be doing the same pattern for 5 rounds. So one single stitch on each chain. You should end up having 60 chains on each round. So let's start. One single stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now finish off the round. 5 rounds. Pause the video and come back when you're done. For round 16, the pattern is, now we will start to decrease the round. So we will begin to stitch together instead of increase. So the pattern is one single stitch on the first 8 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we will stitch together the next 2 chains. Let's zoom in. To stitch together, let's insert our hook on the 2 chains. So insert on the first, then on the second. Grab a rubber band, pull through the other 2 chains. Let's make a loop. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Grab the first loop and then pull through the other 2 loops. Now you have stitch 2 chains together. Then back to 8 single stitch. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 17, the pattern is, let's zoom in, one single stitch on the first 3 chains. So let's start here. 1, 2, 3. Then we will stitch together the next 2 chains. To stitch together, insert your hook on the on the 2 chains. Then grab a rubber band, pull through, make a loop, then hook the first loop and pull through the other 2. So another 7 single stitch on the next 7 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then on the next 2 chains, stitch together. Now repeat this pattern 5 more times. You should end up having 48 chains. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 18, pattern is 1 single stitch on the first 6 chains, then stitch together the next 2 chains. Repeat that pattern 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Zoom in. Stitch together 7 and 8. Then repeat this pattern 5 more times. So again, 1 single stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then stitch together. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 19, the pattern is 1 single stitch on the first 3 chains and stitch together 4th and 5th. Then 1 single stitch on the next 5 chains, then stitch together the next 2 chains. Then repeat that pattern 5 times. You should end up having 36 chains. So 1 single stitch, 2, 3. Then stitch together the next 2 chains. Then 1 single stitch in the next 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then stitch together the next 2 chains. Now finish off the round, pause the video, and come back when you're done. For round 20, the pattern is stitch together the first 2 chains, then 1 single stitch on the next 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat this pattern 5 more times. Now pause the video, finish off the round, and come back when you're done. For round 21, the pattern is 2 single stitch on the first 2 chains. 1 single stitch each on the first 2 chains, then stitch together the next 2 chains. Then 1 single stitch on the next 3 chains. So 1 single stitch, 2, then stitch together 3 and 4. Then 1 single stitch on the next 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3. Then 1 single stitch, stitch together the next 2 chains. Sorry. 1, then back to 1 single stitch in the next 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Then stitch together the next 2. Then 1 single stitch again, next 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Then stitch together the next 2. Then 1, 2, 3. Then stitch together. Then back to 3. 1, 2, 3. Then stitch together the next 2 chains. And then lastly 1 single stitch. Now we're done with our head. We should end up having 24 chains. Now let's turn to the other side, for we will be using the other side as the head. That's all. Thank you for watching.